So I see just this massive opportunity to grow the genre when, you're not excluding entire populations of people from it. So
You've got a lot going on. You're a busy man. You just dropped your debut album, Blueneck, within the past week. Is that correct?
it was a couple weeks
A couple
ago,
weeks
but
ago.
yeah,
Okay.
May
Yeah.
31st. It feels like I don't know what time it is right now. It feels like it was a year ago. It feels like it was a week ago, somewhere in between there. But yeah, like 3-ish weeks ago.
Wow. And it was a long time coming.
Oh yeah, it's been my whole life up to this point, really. Like it really feels like the thing I've been working on since I first picked up the fiddle when I was 7 years old. So
Oh.
it's and yeah, especially just as an independent artist and uh which is the case right now, just you don't really always think about that, all that goes into even just paying for one song to be recorded, but it's a lot. So yeah. So I'm just so relieved that it's out in the world, and yeah.
So I guess let's maybe start there at the beginning for popculture.com audiences who may not be familiar with you. You said that you picked up the fiddle at 7 years old, and is that kind of where it all started for you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I used to go to these jam sessions with my parents all the time, and they would mostly just kind of like gossip and smoke cigarettes. But occasionally
Yep.
there's music played by some of the people too. And there was this older guy named Tom that I just thought he played the fiddle, and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I decided I wanted to play fiddle, and got one and kind of just taught myself, really. And we didn't have like music teachers really, or like definitely not strings or orchestras in this town of 200 people in Western Kansas. So, so the only option was to teach myself, really. But yeah, just played by ear. Next thing I knew, we had like a family band, and we're traveling all over. And yeah, that kind of started the whole thing.
It's incredible. It's so funny. Like my daughter, she's 11, and she has recently become enamored with the fiddle because her great grandfather, my wife's grandfather, I played a little bit, and so we had one for that reason, and she became a big fan of it. And sort of the same situation. Like, I mean, there are plenty of people now that can, but at her school, like that's not part of the music curriculum. Like she wants to play fiddle, but she can't play fiddle in the school band. So it's like, what do I do? I guess I guess we're just gonna have to start a family band with her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need to pick up the bass or the banjo. And yeah,
I'll
that's
get
how
that
it
up
goes.
right. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
And you grew up is Kansas? Is that correct?
Yeah, yep, in Hanston, Kansas, like small town out in southwest Kansas.
Yeah.
Kind of by Dodge City was the nearest Walmart. Which,
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. So you had to say it was quite a drive there.
yeah. That was like 45 minutes away. That was like the nearest civilization, kind of.
Right on. And
Yeah.
and your music career kicked off, let's say what, maybe when you went to Belmont in Nashville, is that right? Is that when you
Yeah, I
decided
went to
this is what I want to do?
kind of. I moved to yeah, went to Belmont, moved to Nashville when I right after high school when I was 18. But at the same time, like I don't know, kind of put music on the back burner and stuff. I had also just come out. So I was just I didn't think I could really do the country music I grew up doing anymore. This is, 2008. But so I'd say it really started like I started getting, putting 100% back into it when I was in like 2019.
Okay.
When I put my first song out at the end of 2019, and then yeah, and then kind of the year since. So there's times it can be, frustrating that I've been in Nashville for I'm coming up on 16 years, but it's really been like 5-ish years that I've been actively pursuing it. So
Wild. I see. I used to live in Nashville myself.
no way.
I live in Eugene, Oregon now, but I grew up in the Nashville area. I mean, I grew up in Nashville basically. I mean, Western Kentucky to Nashville, and it's an interesting city. It is very much an
Yeah,
interesting place to be.
yeah. It's definitely, yeah, we're definitely in the South, and
Very much.
that's awesome. Yeah.
What was going on? Maybe take me back to your mindset in it when you first. So what was going on that clicked for you, and you were like, you know what, maybe I can actually do something with it. Maybe I can actually pursue this passion and have and have some success, be fulfilled in it.
Yeah, I think really in 2021 was when I started really feeling some momentum,
Okay.
as a lot of people did because of the social media app TikTok.
Okay, yeah,
You
that's
know, that, and it's, I feel like it's a lot of people's story, but it is really like, not that it's everything by any means, but that was the first time I was doing song. I have so the title track of the album, Blueneck,
mhm,
is also a song on the album. I had just kind of teased, we wrote a chorus over Zoom
okay.
for that song that day. And I was like, oh, this feels like something that people might like. I don't know. I'll post this chorus on TikTok. And I had 72 followers at the time. I had no clue what I was doing. And yeah, then like a couple posts later that had been viewed like 7 million times,
Wow.
I was like, oh, this is, and just literally thousands of people saying, I'm a Blueneck, Red State Bluenecker. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I liked country until today.
Wow.
That's been the number one comment I've seen, and that's when I started really being like, oh, okay, we've got something here. And turns out it's just me being authentic, and so that's just been kind of started the whole thing and really changed the trajectory for what I was, writing and just everything. So
That's amazing. I found you on Instagram, I think, and I would say it was probably 22, maybe 22 is when I first discovered you. I had heard Blueneck, and I was like, okay, I like what this guy's doing. And so I've been following you on Instagram for a while, and it's funny, I was recently was talking to a friend about country music, and he was like, man, I want some stuff that's a little different, that's like a little more kind of meets me more where I am, whenever I was like, I got somebody you should listen to.
yeah,
I sent him their songs, and he was like, I like this. I like Blueneck. And I was like, I had a feeling you would, because I think you're right. I think there's something in that really resonates with a lot of people who grew up in the South, grew up in the Midwest as well, and feel like, I'm not quite the same as everybody else here, but I still love all this other stuff. I'm still part of this culture.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And that's what my eyes have opened to that so much. And it makes so much sense. Like, I mean, I definitely feel that way. It doesn't get much more country than the farm I grew up on. But at the same time, yeah, just feeling a little different. Of like, oh, wait, this like genre of music, or like the reputation that it has. Not that it's all bad by any means, but it kind of comes with a lot of, preconceived notions or ideologies that it's like, oh, but, and I think the genre of music has lost a lot of people because of that.
Mm.
And so I see just this massive opportunity to grow the genre when, you're not excluding entire populations of people from it. So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of us that grew up, whether it's, yeah, South Midwest, or even just like in the suburbs of somewhere, and like, there had something that resonated with, maybe in the 90s because country was so good then.
And
uh yeah, and gravitated away from it. Anyway, I could talk about it all day, but
oh, hey, no, look, we absolutely can. I'm a big 90s country fan. Some of my go-tos at karaoke are like here's a quarter, call someone who cares, Travis
oh,
Tritt. Maybe that's late 80s. I don't know. I thought that was 90s. But two dozen roses is iconic, I mean.
yeah, oh my gosh,
But
those
all of
are,
the
man,
way,
those are good.
that the era of Tim McGraw and Alan Jackson and
Yep.
Reba and Shania. Like Shania was one of
Yeah,
my mom was a huge Shania Twain fan, and so like Shania Twain was kind of one of the like first big country music artists to be played around my house. What for you? Like, who was it for you that you were like, oh wow, this person?
yeah, well, it's funny that well, first of all, so many good ones that you named, and we have to do karaoke sometime.
Yeah,
But
let's do it.
yeah, um but country was just kind of like the assumed thing on the radio, like where I grew up. So it was just kind of innately playing all the time. But yeah, my first CD, not my first music purchase because that was a cassette tape. We don't have to talk about that. But my first CD I bought was an Alan Jackson Greatest Hits CD. And that, and back then as a kid, when you're like passionate enough about something to go spend your like,
Yeah.
$10 or
Yeah.
something on like
Yeah.
you loved that. So, but it was like, yeah, a lot of the same people you just mentioned. Shania, the Chicks were a massive influence. Yeah, and I just like loved, and I really gravitate toward like melodies and really good vocals, like Randy Travis, I was, and Clay
Oh
Walker,
my gosh.
and then like Martina McBride and Faith Hill. Yeah, just
Oh,
so many. There
beautiful.
was just a lot of really good stuff. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Faith Hill is a great name to drop because her voice is just so incredible, so smooth, so soothing, so like so I know perfect is it's good, but it's just such a perfect voice, man. Big fan of her.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So true.
Her music was spinning a lot too when I was a kid. Okay, but what we need to get to really, I think, is the fact that here at Pop Culture we are debuting your music video for your new single, I guess, High Hopes, which is a great
Yes.
song. I love it so much. It's so catchy. I would love for you to tell me a little bit more about that song, writing it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I've had that idea for a long time, and I brought it into a couple writing sessions that the people just weren't as excited about it as I was. And I was like, because I had very specific, like I've got this, low expectations, high hopes, had a lot of the melody, a lot of the feel, and this really energetic song. Uh yeah, but anyway, kind of accidentally wrote this one. I went in with my producer to record a different song on the album. Well, that's what I thought we were doing. Went in what I was thinking to record the dog.
Okay.
And next thing I know, we're talking about, needing a high energy song on the album. Or, he was just like, I wish there was like a really high energy song on this album as we're kind of wrapping it up. And I was like, well, I've got this idea that I've had for years. I don't know if you're down. And next thing I knew, we wrote this song, High Hopes. And honestly, though, too, we were just having a like conversation. It was so easy to write because we're just kind of having a conversation, and anymore it just feels like there's a new catastrophe every day. And like, but at the same time, I have all this exciting stuff going on, and it can feel like daunting, and
Mhm.
it can weigh on you when you like let the stuff going on in the world bring you down. And I'm definitely not trying to say like, oh yeah, just ignore that stuff by any means. But but the one thing that like all this crazy stuff going on can't do today is take away your hopes for like a better tomorrow. So that's really where the you know idea, and it felt very, again, still just very personal, because like I take all that stuff to heart, but I like, you got to press on, and that's kind
Right.
of what this song. So
Yeah.
needed it to be like high energy. Of course, then it has like the high. I love a play on words too, so it's
Sure.
got a little
Yeah.
play on words with that. Whatever it takes to a coping mechanism to get you through the day,
Yep.
kind of.
Yep.
And in this music video too, which I'm so excited to be premiering with Pop Culture. That was just a really fun idea that honestly the producer and co-writer and I had the idea. We were just talking about how like, oh, I wish I could just be like on a horse, just walking. The horse doesn't need to be like running, just like singing in like in a Western attire or something. And then like, dang, that'd be awesome. And and then he threw out the idea of oh, what if you were on a carousel? And they were like, yeah, let's
Yes.
find a carousel.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And then anyway, it's a really fun. That was like one of my favorite music days ever. Like trying to dance around and sing. And we took the band that's actually playing on the song, and they're on the carousel. It was just so fun. Yeah.
Which carousel did you guys film at? Where did you film that at?
So that was a really hard thing to find, actually, because I took that to my manager and video and photographer director, Ford Fairchild, and he took that idea to his producer, who she can just find everything, Rebecca Adler. Turns out there's like 4 carousels that are operating in the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, so we found this one in Chattanooga that's a 100-year-old carousel. in a state park right there in the middle of downtown Chattanooga. And but we had to shoot it. We couldn't do it during their opening hours because there's kids riding it and stuff. So we had to film it between 7 and 9 a.m., which was hard to be chipper and stuff that early, or at least for me. But we found a way.
Hey man, that's being a country music superstar right there. Sometimes you got to film on a carousel at 7 a.m.
Yeah. I love to. It was so fun. I love that there's like a random like frog and there's like an ostrich with an American like Uncle Sam hat thing. It was so fun. It was like a really one guy that has passed, I believe, but he like handmade all of those, like every part of the carousel. So it's a really cool like story behind that and stuff too. So it was nice to highlight that as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing it with us. I appreciate it. And then people can go over to popculture.com right now, find that music video. You can search Chris Housman's name, find it. Last thing before I let you go, Chris, just want to give you an opportunity. What do you got going on? What's going on? We got the music video now, but what's on the horizon for you over the next, few months to year?
Yeah, so we're gonna keep on the music video train and gonna try to do a music video for each song and just kind of stretch this. I've put so much time and energy into this album. I want to, not just immediately move on to the next thing, but we're working on setting up a little tour. I get a lot of people asking, especially in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of people asking when you come in Seattle, etc. But so we're trying to string a tour together that makes sense. So be on the lookout for that, which you can find on my website, 𝐿𝐴H𝐻𝐿.com. But then, just gonna keep churning this album. A lot of exciting stuff though to come. Hopefully touring, but then also right now I feel like I'm writing for album 3, maybe 4. So I'm ready to like move. I've got like number 2, 3.5 kind of already done. So I'm ready for people to say like, oh, his third album wasn't as good as his second, but let's try to get it for the fourth. So anyway, I'm just pumped, jazzed about life right now.
I love it.
And thank you so much, Steven, for
absolutely, dude.